Hello and welcome to Wise Women, the Vicar and the Witch. I'm Maggie Whitehouse and I'm the Vicar.
And I'm Susie Crockford and I'm the Witch. We are perceived perhaps as being on opposite ends of a spectrum, but we're friends and we see the common threads of our different experience of the sacred. So please join us as we discuss
life, the universe and everything. Hello and welcome, it's the solstice. Ring out those solstice bells.
Yay! Ring out those solstice bells. So I'm intrigued. Does Christianity do anything at all?
Well, of course not. No.
No.
Good Lord.
Okay.
Pagan rubbish, you know.
Yeah, fair, okay. I'm collecting all the little tidbits I know about the story of now, which I must say is one of my favourite stories. I do love a good nativity, I have to admit, and it always brings a tear to my eye. The idea that so much, there is this feeling always, I mean, pretty much in every church I've ever been to, of a great outpouring of love towards a tiny child.
Yes.
And I love that. It really, really, really moves me.
Yes.
But for me, there's the inescapable. But this time of year is all about the celebration of the returning of the light, as in the sun, and therefore the chances that this child was actually born around now are slim.
It's a million to one chance, but it might just work.
Yeah, yes. But also actually, do you know what? As I say that out loud, maybe not. Firstly, it doesn't matter. Of course it doesn't matter. But also, given how extraordinary the powers of the spirits are to manifest in ordinary reality, he absolutely might have been born now. Because that is, as I think, as a pagan, that's one of the things that's really, and fundamentally as an animist, that is one of the things that is so important to remember, is that Christians, baby Jesuses, all that stuff, they are part of the animate world too.
Indeed we are, yes. Damn decent of you to say so, but you're right, it's the patterns. And this is why I love being a Kabbalist, because it brings it out so clearly that all the religions are still honouring the patterns. No matter how anybody tries to start it, it settles back into the pattern. And of course, people will call that cultural appropriation, and I understand that, but no, we have to go back to the pattern. And the pattern is the myth, and a myth doesn't mean an untruth, it means a great perennial truth in a story.
Yeah.
The story may not be true, but the myth is. So we have the return of the sun.
Yeah.
S-O-N, S-U-N, it doesn't really matter. And nowadays we basically have a baby Donald Trump, white as anything, with bright orange hair in the...
Where have you been to church?
Well, it's the kind of baby you get put in the crib most of the time. It's very rarely a little brown one. And it's usually the size of an 8-year-old.
I've seen quite a number of little brown ones.
Good! Well, that's marvellous. I'm very pleased to hear that. I campaign for little brown babies.
Yeah.
Or maybe even Jewish red-headed babies. I don't mind one way or the other, but not blonde, white 8-year-olds. I mean, I have a standing joke in the routine, which is, even if you don't believe in anything to do with the virgin birth, just look at the nativity. Any child of the age of 14 who could give birth to an 8-year-old without exploding, that's got to be a miracle.
You're horrible.
But it is a magical time of the year. It's not the Christian festival. The Christian festival is meant to be Easter, which is the time where we go, again, down into the darkness, give up the trouble, and resurrect the light. Mm-hmm. And it's the coming of spring, of course, because it's around Ostra. It's all around that time. Again, following the pattern. But yes, it's perennial joy at birth, joy at rebirth, new year, new life, new chance. The sun is coming back. And I think... And I don't remember where I heard this, but I'm pretty sure you'll agree. The 25th is the first day there is a perceptible return of light.
I think you heard that from me
Did
last
I?
year.
Oh,
yes.
well, there you are. Well, I don't know. I know I heard it before, but you confirmed it. And that makes absolute sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, total. Yeah.
That you say the return of the light. Look, you can see.
Yeah.
It may only be 30 seconds, but you can see.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it definitely is perceptible, because on the actual solstice is the first of 3 days. Sol, the sun, stis, stand still, sistere, to stand still, for 3 days and 3 nights. setting and rising in the same place, which takes us 21 down, 22 rises in the same place, 22 down, 23 rises in the same place, 23 down, 24 rises in the same place, 25 rises somewhere different.
Yes. Even if only in a tiny way, that's the huge pivot, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and it must take the planet that long to sort of, well, no, actually it just keeps going the natural way, doesn't it?
It's just spinning. Doing a thing.
Doing its thing, living in the perpetual now. Well, I'm doing a Solstice Mass online for the first time.
Why are you doing a Solstice Mass? You're a Christian.
Because a Mass is a Mass.
Okay.
A Mass is a Mass, and I wouldn't know about Masses if I weren't a Christian, and the formulation of them comes from the ancient Jewish tradition of Kabbalah, and the Tridentine Mass, the old Latin one, was built on the Tree of Life. So it's a beautiful service that follows the patterns of creation.
What's Tridentine?
I don't know what Tridentine. It just is the original Latin Mass, the original form of the Mass.
Okay, 3 something.
Yes. Probably Trinity Mass. Sorry, don't know. Oops. Profound ignorance showing. But I'll look it up. Maybe come back with it next week, or maybe not. I'll have forgotten by then. But why am I doing a Solstice Mass? Well, I'm honouring both. All.
Mm. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, which actually brings me straight onto a slight distraction on it about dates.
Okay.
Because this week, I actually got referred to as acting like a snowflake.
I can't ask who called you a snowflake. All right.
Lovely lady called Lou.
Shush, you can't say. What on earth? I mean, I've heard of snowflakes, but I've never been quite clear what they are. But I think they were, I wouldn't have you down as one.
I think they're meant to be oversensitive. You know, the people who are into cancel culture and get easily offended.
Okay.
So what my issue was, and I've noticed this again and again and again, and I don't know if it's unconscious white privilege, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that we don't realise that it might be, is that you see a lot of stuff on social media about dates, about palindrome dates or definite dates of 12/12 of the 12th of 2012, somebody was coming along with the 21st of the 12th 21, and how special the energies were for that day. And I look at that and I'm very pragmatically Taurian, as in going, that's purely the Christian calendar.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
It's 571 something in Judaism and 1400 and something in Islam, and several other dates are also need apply. So I don't understand how a Gregorian calendar date means a flying fuck to the universe.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, yes, couldn't agree more.
Oh, thank
With
God
the
for that.
sentiment and the way it was expressed, I'm afraid. Yeah, top. Yeah, the universe isn't going to give a flying fuck what we think the date is. To her, it's probably, 300 million billion
and who cares?
72, and I'm sure she doesn't give a shit.
Yes.
Yeah. What the hell? So how does that make you a snowflake?
Well, because I posted something saying, a friend of mine posted this in total good faith. It's a day that made her feel good, because she looked at the day, she thought, oh, that's nice, I feel good, it's got special spiritual energies. And I just thought, that's just immediately excluding anyone of any other faith system.
Yeah.
So I actually thought, is this a privilege thing? That we're assuming that our Christian dates are the important ones because there are Christian...
absolutely, yeah. I mean, that is a white privilege, Christian privilege thing. And I don't know, my kind of core sense is it's also completely irrelevant.
Well, that's the most important thing that I think. It's irrelevant. What does it matter?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I still don't understand why it makes you a snowflake.
It makes me a snowflake because I think I was seen as attacking something that somebody found was special and making it very ordinary. But I was the snowflakey bit.
I kind of see that too.
Yes. And I don't mind if it makes you feel special, that's great. Anything that makes you feel good is great. But I was snowflakey because I said you are excluding half the planet.
Okay. I suspect that that lady and you aren't using Snowflake to mean the same thing.
No, okay.
I don't know what she does mean, but
no.
I don't think it's someone who's offended easily.
No. Oh, well, we'll have to look it up and find out. Should we pause and look it up and find out?
We could do.
Let's do that. We'll be back before we've gone. Right. Snowflake, according to Wikipedia, is a 2010s derogatory slang term for a person implying that he or she has an inflated sense of uniqueness, an unwarranted sense of entitlement, or is overly emotional, easily offended, and unable to deal with opposing opinions. I think this is snowflakey was basically you're being overly emotional, easily offended, and unable to deal with opposing opinions, which I wouldn't say was necessarily true of me, but
yes.
But I don't mind it one way or the other. I'm actually though quite chuffed that you think the view is relevant.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I think it's really, really important to, on the one hand, kind of in one way, I get the accusation of snowflake because, for heaven's sake, it's a
what
date.
Does it matter?
What does it matter?
Exactly.
Do we have to bring white privilege into everything?
And she's
on the other
utterly
hand,
right about that. Yes.
No, but also, on the other hand, yes, we bloody do.
Yeah.
Because if we do not pay attention to this, we're going to merrily go on with our blinkers, reaching out into every corner of reality, imagining that is the only date.
Yeah.
And that she's completely right.
Yeah.
Because that is the date. Rather than understanding that date is, from my perspective, a pretty arbitrary designation that a number of years have passed since something super important, not to me, supposedly happened. So, yes, it absolutely is white privilege speaking there. So,
so it's a yes and.
It's totally a yes and. In many ways you are both right, but I'm sorry, all things considered, you're right.
I don't need to be right.
No, I know. But also, I think, as ever, it's so important that we have these conversations, that we name, hey, look, the date is part of white privilege.
Yeah.
It is. The very fabric of all our reality is fundamentally interwoven into oh my god, I've forgotten all my words. So into imperialism, racism, sexism, the class system, the Christianity, the system of dates, the yada 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 yada. And if we don't continuously examine this, it can and will not change. But we can't make that into some kind of negative rant where everything and everyone becomes wrong and everyone needs to be offended and everybody needs to go, oh my heavens, I avert my gaze from the date because the date is wrong, the date makes me a racist or whatever.
Yeah.
We have to see it, understand that it is the case, attempt to open our eyes, our minds, our hearts to a more generous way of being, and absolutely not allow it to become a thing which puts us in a place of opposition to anyone else.
Yes.
Because then you're just perpetuating a different kind of the very same thing.
Yes. Yeah. And an awful lot of this is all about just not trying very hard, convenience, not thinking. And one of the things about moving house, because this is your first visit to our lovely new house, so welcome.
Such a lovely house,
dear
listener.
It is so pretty, isn't it?
So pretty, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
and
it was
really chuffed for you, and I think it's absolutely hilarious that the vicar lives in Chapel Cottage. And of course she does, Universe, well done.
Yes, indeed. And it's because everything here is new. Nothing works the way it worked previously. And I'm sure that people can probably do seamless transfers of everything, all their services generally. But this was not seamless. Everything had to be questioned. Everything had to be brought up. And everything had to be looked at. So it's exhausting. Wonderful and exhausting.
Great, though.
Yeah.
I mean, at a time where everything's being brought up and looking at stuff.
Yeah.
There you are, bringing up the date and looking at stuff. The way we do something is the way we do everything. And when the universe demands, when the gods, Gaia herself, whatever, demands that you examine, okay, who's my electric provider? Why have we got those? What are their ethics? What are their environmental credentials, etc., etc., etc.? Why this? Why that? Why this? That will implant itself into your very being, and clearly has.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at something as simple as, yippee, a palindrome date, and going, why? And that's great.
Yes. Yes, but we say in Kabbalah, when you're into ferret, which is the awake part of you, the watcher, when you're going, hang on, no, not sure, let's have another look at this. It is tiring because we usually coast along in ego and don't think about things twice. And can't do that at the moment. And fascinatingly, this morning I was starting off a casserole to put in the essie, because we've now got an essie rather than the Rayburn. There's a whole... Oh, God, what a story about the essie. It ends up you can serve it yourself. It didn't work for 3 weeks. I've lost my point because I've gone on
something about ferret, and I'm afraid I'm quietly sniggering
which
here
means,
to myself.
Yeah, the ferret. When you've got the little ferret that's always alert, and you've got the little sod, which
the ferret's always awake.
Yes. These are deeply serious Hebrew words, but yes, ferret we call it, or ye little sod, which is your ego.
Ye sod and ferret. I probably remember them now.
Yeah, but I've forgotten what the main point thrust was, but I'm going to go on the Essie story because it was basically, it didn't work. We had no heating. We were cold and damp. We just moved in and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So it obviously hadn't been serviced before we moved in. And, oh yes, that's the pattern. Bring me back to the pattern of cleaning, if you would. But we couldn't get the service brought forward, and we were phoning everyone, and we were thinking, oh God, the landlord's going to hate us for being troublesome. And then we thought, no, we bloody deserve a little bit of heat. And eventually, on your advice, I phoned Essie themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they put me through to the wonderful Dan.
Dan, the wonderful man. I love Essie as a company so much.
And Dan said, well,
company.
don't worry, my lover, because I can talk you through servicing it yourself.
Yeah.
Now, somewhere you'll have all the equipment you need. I'm doing a very bad accent, but it's actually to honour him because he was just such a lovely bloke.
Yeah.
And he taught me through how to service the Essie so it would work.
Yeah, they are stunning as a company.
Yeah. And of course, as soon as they'd done that, the service company brought the service forward and Bob came round.
And reserviced what you had just
and
serviced.
Reserviced it. Well, he was quite grateful about that, really, because he thought it was a boiler and he didn't have an hour and a half to service an Essie. So when he pulled it apart, he said, oh, well, it doesn't need that much anyway. I don't understand why it didn't work.
Great. Oh, did you not own up?
Oh, yes, I did. I did own up. But, of course, I did the girl thing of saying, well, of course, we still wanted you to come out because it would have been a bit of a girl job. And it was a bit of a girl job. But it was lovely. Now, what was my other point? My other point
Something
was...
about cleaning, but first can I just be momentarily snowflakily offended by your girl job versus boy job?
Yes, you can
that.
Yes, you can be totally offended by that. Go for it, yes. But no, I used it in a scorpionic moon manipulation job, as in, don't refuse to do this. But you're quite right. It was bad.
Please not based on the fact that you're a girl.
No, I'm not a girl, I'm an old woman.
Oh, well, whatever. On the notion of your gender being inherently pathetic and therefore unable to service a boiler properly, please, yes.
Yes. But it brings us back to the original point, because I just made a joke there and actually you called me up on it. Yeah, and good, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, to ferret will get to hump.
Ferret. Ferret will beat ye little sod. Right, left and centre. Okay, yeah, the pattern is, and I'm bloody...
Is this the cleaning pattern?
Yeah, the cleaning pattern's very interesting. Every house we've rented, or I've rented previously, and every house I bought also, I've always left my previous dwelling spotless. Mm-hmm. And I've always moved into a house which had dirt. Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating because technically the previous tenant should clean up perfectly. She had the garden chopped, but she just chopped. There was no weeding. There's loads of weeds. All the cobbles are covered in lichen and moss, so it's really slippery, which is one of the reasons why I dropped a sofa on my head. Ah. And one of the reasons why there's green slime on the sofa.
Oh, joy.
That kind of stuff. And part of me gets really annoyed by it, but I think it's part of my life's journey.
Okay.
Clean up. And that's what I'm trying to do in Christianity. As a minister, clean up. Go in, see what the dirt is, clean up. It's still annoying.
Yeah.
And the house, the carpets were cleaned. It wasn't a professional clean, you can tell. She said it was, but there's still cobwebs in all the lights. And if it was a professional clean, it was a rubbish one and a rug doctor job because the edges aren't clean. Which is, I'm not bothered about it. We brought dogs in here. But then she closed the house with no heating and it was left for 3 weeks. So, of course, the black mould.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And sort of move in and go, oh, for F's sake, what's going on here? Why have I got to do more cleaning up? But hey, why have I got to do more cleaning up? I obviously need to do more cleaning up.
Yeah. Well, or you need to go and ask the spirits, why do I need to do more cleaning up? What's this? What is this?
What is this?
Tell me about it. Can I change it?
Yeah, I think I would probably have to do that.
Yeah, because it would be nice not to spend... I don't know. Well, it depends, doesn't it? If it's your work to spend your life cleaning up, fair.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you. And if it's some kind of lesson that somehow you're slightly missing the point of, then they'll tell you that too and you can sort it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually rather enjoying it.
Well then. There's your answer. Here, Maggie, have some cleaning. You know you like it.
Oh, no, I don't really enjoy cleaning, but this is such a pretty little place that it's sort of nice to put things in neat corners, and I'm looking forward to it.
And also, what a way to greet a home. To tend and clean and do that whole, licking your den thing.
Yes.
To make it really yours.
Yes.
So that it's clean because you made it clean. Which
well, it'll never be clean. I never clean that way. But it will be tidier and vaguely neater. Yes. It will be loved.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is part, it's a massive part of making a home. I'm not suggesting that in order to have a home it needs to be clean or tidy.
No.
But to have investigated every corner and the underneaths and around the corners and the aboves and all the rest of it.
Yes.
Because it's yours and you love it.
Yes. We explored the attic and we're so grateful there is an attic and you can get into it. Obviously nobody's been in it since the house, nobody's been in it for years. And it was covered in mouse poo.
Are you sure it's mouse poo and not bat poo?
Yes, because there were little skeletons of mice in the mouse traps that had been left up there.
Oh, that wasn't very kind.
I wouldn't be unhappy if it was bat poo.
We've got that's what poo's all over our attic is bats. We've got
really. What does bat poo look
bats
like?
In the attic?
Yeah,
it looks suspiciously like mouse poo, but it smells different. It smells really strong. Bat poo.
Oh well, this is desiccated stuff. There's not been anything up there for a very long time.
Right.
But Lion put his head up and went, oh. And I put my head up and said, we've got a very small vacuum cleaner inherited from my mother. Will you pass this up, please? But it was sort of a nice thing to do, to say, I see this. Let's move it.
Yeah, it is. It's a lovely thing to do. I mean, I agree. I absolutely hate cleaning, but there is also that part of the loving of the house. And even though I do have to admit I absolutely hate cleaning, I bloody love the end result of cleaning.
Yes.
I love it when the house feels all shiny and not shiny, I can't bear shiny things, but where wood's got that glow because it's been polished. And
yes.
We've only got slate floors downstairs, but they're not covered in little grubby paw prints, for example, covered in mud. Yeah. Just etc. etc. And the feeling of it's clean, it's loved, I really like that, which therefore means that even though I loathe cleaning, I will do it and get such a sense of satisfaction from it being done.
Yeah.
So, and that, that's definitely part of, it's back to the way we do something is the way we do everything. Yeah. It's part of tending our world, isn't it?
It is.
Hopefully, definitely. As long as it's not exercise in spraying chemicals everywhere.
Yeah. Well, we found out we have a septic tank. We have mains water, but our water goes into next door's septic tank and goes to help the wetlands around here where the Madewell people are reclaiming some of the land and growing beautiful produce for sale, which is 2 houses along, which is just brilliant.
reclaiming land from wetland.
Well, they're not reclaiming it; they're using it. They're actually making a lake in it and allowing.
So they're using it as a wetland.
Yes, they're not reclaiming as for building anything on, but actually just sort of
restoring.
Restoring, yes, much better.
Okay,
much better. So our sewage is helping the wetland, isn't that nice?
Hurrah! Yeah, amazing.
But now I've got a long, complicated matter. Southwest Water. Don't get me started on Southwest Water. It's quite funny, the whole Southwest Water thing. But they're charging us for water and sewage. Well, they don't do our sewage.
No.
So the amount of phone calls I'm having to make, because all these chatbots on websites, you trot along and say, "Can I help you?" And you go, "I don't think so, but let's give it a go." And it just goes, "I don't understand what you're talking about." Yeah. Because everything has to fit into these convenient boxes, which brings me right back. And I was just asking Lan this morning if he thought that Spanish onions were being bred to be milder over the years, because I'm buying onions from next door, from Madewell, and I'm crying my eyes out with them, whereas I'd stopped crying with most onions.
That probably is why we import Spanish onions.
Yes, because they're milder.
They make you cry and they're milder, and if you want them in a salad, they won't.
Yes.
Turn the edges crispy of your saliva glands or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I imagine there's got to be a reason why we like Spanish onions. They also grow bigger, don't they, than a proper English onion?
Yes, mind you, there's some huge onions being grown around here at the moment.
Are they?
They're absolutely massive. But
I guess there would be. Onions need a lot of water.
Yes. There you go.
It's rained
yes.
a lot.
Oh yeah, and it is wet down there. There's a great big pool that they're digging out, so that's going to be lovely. And I thought, it is coming back to this need for convenience, because it hasn't been convenient in this house. It's gorgeous and we're loving it now, but it hasn't been convenient. And I put on my makeup this morning, and then I chopped up onions, and then I went and cried my eyes. I went and looked at myself in the mirror, looked like two black eyes, because I wear that zero waste mascara now, which isn't waterproof.
No, it really isn't, is it?
So I had to go and clean my face and start again from the very beginning. And I thought, the world can't handle this now. I'm absolutely blessed and lucky that I've got the time, and I'm understanding this process of going, okay, it would cost the earth if I had waterproof mascara. I can take 5 more minutes to go and wipe it off, and I can also make a note not to put the makeup on before I've done any
chopping of onions. Or you can wrap a wet tea towel around your face while you chop onions.
What, wrap it around your nose like a mask?
Yeah.
I've held a slice of bread in my mouth.
Does that work?
No.
As I recall, wrapping a
wet tea
towel over the sort of bottom of your face effectively stops it.
But that's still not convenient.
No. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Most of what's wrong with the way we treat the earth
is because we have to have it convenient.
And we like convenience because we're lazy.
Yes. I tried to buy mince pies without any packaging, and I haven't offered you a mince pie yet. I will offer you a mince pie after this recording.
Thank you. I will be delighted to receive a mince pie.
They're not very nice mince pies.
Oh, well, why are you offering me one? Did you make them?
No, I bought some from a stall, individual ones, because I didn't want the packaging. And part of me's going, well, the packaged ones are much nicer. And going, make your own darn mince pies and stop whinging.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Make your own.
If you've got the time, though.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we get all these convenience items to give us more time, but we're not taking time.
Well, and actually, when you go back to the thing of we need more time so we have convenience foods. The story is that convenience foods are cheaper than real foods. And although that is sadly these days actually often true, in terms of you can go and buy some kind of microwave dinner or something and it might cost you £1 and it's hard-ish to make a proper meal for £1 if you're starting from scratch that day. But firstly, that is costing the earth. That is abused creatures, abused vegetables in abused packaging.
Yeah.
And, I hope I don't have to explain to anyone listening all the reasons why that is an affront to the gods, to Gaia, to everything. but that actually, if you were to make, for example, a great big beanie stew, especially if it was from maybe some vegetables you'd grown yourself, you could easily be eating for £1.
Yeah,
easily. And you could make that once a week, stick it in the fridge, stick it in the freezer if you've got one, and be eating. But the thing is that we don't just want convenience. We want novelty,
and
we
variety.
want we want blah, 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 blah. And we want not to stand there and chop onions. Actually, I don't know that we want to not chop onions, but we have been totally and utterly indoctrinated into the idea that the one in the packet's gonna be cheaper. And that's just not always true at all. And also, I will keep bringing it back to, yes, but what's the real cost?
Yeah.
The one in the packet is costing us and our children and their children the earth and so many other beings.
There was a lot of stuff in my mum's freezer which we picked up and brought back here, and a lot of it was chopped out vegetables. She had very big problems with arthritic hands, and she was still trying to cook for herself as much as she possibly could. And it was really weird using all this stuff because I'm not a convenience food kind of person. And all these packets of finely chopped vegetables, and I'm putting them in my pasta and thinking they've gone into mush. Oh, is this for children who don't like vegetables so we can hide them or something like that? It was incredibly convenient and quite tempting to go back and get more. But thanks to you, and thanks to this podcast, and thanks to living here and talking with the divas more, and learning more and more. No.
Hurrah.
No, if I possibly can.
Yeah,
And
how can you buy an onion from a supermarket when you live next to the field they grow in?
Well, I don't.
No, but people do.
Yes, we do. There is big need for change, but...
There is big need for change.
There is big need for change. There's no but. I put a but on the end of it. As in...
So I want to, on the score of big need for change, I want to talk about solstice and the possibility of doing a ritual in the direction of good change. So in the coming of the light is also the moment of maximum darkness, if you like.
Yes.
So the moment, our darkest hour is, as ever, of course, before the dawn. And in the time between whenever you listen to this and that day when the sun arises in its new lighter way, so the 24th or the 25th, depending on how you count it, and when the solstice actually falls, and I didn't actually look up what is the exact hour of solstice yet. Because again, for me, I'm not so sure that matters. I mean, in one way, of course it does, and let's not be sloppy with these things, but in another way, we know when the night is, and we know when the sun goes down because we're out there and we're watching, and we know when the sun comes up because we're out there and we're watching.
3:59 p.m. according
is what? The moment of solstice?
Is the moment of solstice, yes.
So that's the time the sun goes down on...
Yes, it's sunset on the 21st.
Yeah, cool.
And that applies for any calendar. So
yes,
the moment
sunset. Well, it applies to any calendar here in the UK.
Yes.
It'll be different times in different places.
Yes.
And in fact,
that's true.
That is the sunset in London.
Yes.
So as we live in the West, it'll be slightly later.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
So, there is no unilateral time, just as there is no unilateral date.
So even so, saying 3:59 on Tuesday doesn't really work, but 3:59 if you're listening to this on the Friday, that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, in four
cycles of the
sun.
Cycles
of the sun.
I think we're still allowed to call those days.
I think we probably are allowed to call those days, yes.
And we do realise.
So what ritual would you suggest?
Picky. So I would suggest the two. The first is the lighting of fires. So that remembering that no matter what, there is always hope in the darkness. And that even when the sun is gone from our sight on this side of the planet and we are in the dark, that there is always the evidence of the sun, so we can light a fire and we can burn whatever it is we're burning that's only here on this planet because of the sun. And that beautiful relationship between sun and earth is what gives us every single thing that there is here. That the fire can be a beacon of hope, but also that fire is amongst the oldest of our ancestors, along with, you know, all of the elements. They were here before anything else, and that fire, therefore, as the kind of almost the Kali-esque aspect of fire the great destroyer rather than fire the community bringer, is able to take from us those things we just want to leave behind in this year. As ever, all fire rituals, we've got the potential to offer to the fire the things we wish to leave behind. And then, at this incredible dark time of the solstice, the possibility of naming words are spells, say it out loud. This is a vibrational world. Words matter.
Yes.
Into the darkness I plant the seed of. And the things that you want to grow in this gestating darkness before Imbolc, before the spring comes, what is it that you want to plant into the beautiful, rich, black, velvety darkness of this time that you're then going to nurture with your attention and your intention, but also in this time of hopefully deep rest? What do you want to plant for next year? It's so simple and it's so beautiful.
I think that's a perfect time to close.
Okay.
However, I will put a small advert in, which is if anybody does want to do an online Solstice Mass with me on the 21st of December, please just drop me a line to the Facebook page and we'll see if we can fit you in. It would be lovely to have you, but if you just want to light a fire, then that's just as good.
See you next week.